we play so many games, right? But you don't really have much time to practice. So I think it's good for a guy like me to really kind of take as much ice as I can and learn out there and learn techniques or whatever and kind of talk things out. But I think I feel good, and you just got to be ready for game time.
Is it still on the right?
I mean, it's just exciting, just kind of coming into new challenges, playing some really high-end teams lately too. So mentally, it's a different game, different team every night. So just excitement for each challenge.
That is Lane Hutson last week, just talking about the challenges of the National Hockey League. The NHL leader in rookie points, a defenseman on the Montreal Canadiens. Lane Hutson, 39 points in 52 games. Lane Hutson tonight going one-on-one. No, well, maybe there'll be a one-on-one situation, but it's the Sharks and the Canadiens against the other Calder candidate. And we know that Mishkov is in the mix as well. Macklin Celebrini, who's having quite the season, at 37 points in 42 games. We know he missed some time. So it's Celebrini versus Hutson tonight and in the Calder race. Who do you got?
Well, I picked Lane Hutson a while ago, so I'm going to stick with my original pick.
Well, dude, you've already picked Demidov to win the Rookie next year. You have the Canadiens winning back-to-back Calders.
Look, I want to get into Demidov a little bit later here because I think he's relevant to today because of the fact that Macklin Celebrini was the first overall pick in that draft. Campbell, I want to start, though, by talking about Macklin Celebrini. And it's going to be a good race with Celebrini and Hutson. Hutson appears maybe to have hit a bit of a wall. But the numbers on Celebrini this year are really impressive. He got hurt a little bit earlier, but he's been able to play 42 games. He's on a terrible team. In 42 games, he has 16 goals and 37 points. Now, Lane Hutson is a couple years older than Macklin Celebrini. Not that it matters for the Calder Trophy. The Calder Trophy is the award for the best rookie. Hutson's a rookie. Celebrini's a rookie. So we compare them equally. It goes back to, we could talk about Kaprizov's rookie year. We could talk about Panarin's rookie year. They were in their early 20s when they broke into the National Hockey League.
But I'll tell you, this is, and this is, you're saying this, and I'll let you finish your thought, but when the votes go in for the Calder, people will look at a teenager versus someone who's not a teenager. And teenager just stands out. And yes, teenagers as rookies have won it, but it's so impressive when a teenager is the best of that crop versus kids that are 20, 21, 22 that are rookies but older and had a little bit more of a growth period since they're drafted. And I know Celebrini was the first overall pick, but Celebrini as a teenager does get probably a couple more votes because of that fact. Even if you want to put them all on the same playing field, they're all first-year players. But when you want to make that vote, you're like, yeah, but he's almost a point a game as a teenager. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, and I completely get it because I look at what Celebrini is doing, and I'm very impressed because of the fact that he's only 18 years old. The guy was drafted in July, and he's already having this kind of impact on the NHL, just under a point a game. He's getting more and more comfortable, it seems, as we go here. And Campbell, when it comes to rookie seasons for 18, 19-year-olds, first year coming out of the draft, first overall picks, we haven't really seen a teenager play this way in almost a decade. Now, let's go through the first overall picks. Celebrini was the first overall pick in 2024. Last year, the first overall pick was Connor Bedard, who had a good rookie year, but he got hurt. He broke his jaw, played only 68 games. He was 61 points in 68 games. Celebrini has a good chance of eclipsing what Bedard did as an 18-year-old last year. The year before that was Uri Slavkovsky. So-so rookie year. Wasn't amazing, wasn't bad, kind of average. 2021, Owen Power. Still hasn't even established himself as a top defenseman. 2020, Alexis Lafreniere. Took that guy like 4 or 5 years to become the player that he is now. 2019, Jack Hughes. Do you remember his rookie year? Terrible. 2018, Rasmus Dahlin. Do you remember how long it took him to establish himself as a top defender? Probably 4 or 5 years.
Pretty good now.
Pretty good now. You got to be patient. I'm not saying that.
I'm just being patient for the Sabres to trade him.
I'm just 2017, Nico Hischier.
Yeah.
Took him a while.
Long developing play for him from rookie year.
2016, 2015, that's where you had some real, but these are generational players.
Perfect example.
Matthews and McDavid were both just incredible.
Matthews was that late birthday and he
he
went to go play professionally.
He scored 40 goals in his first year.
Okay, so on that point of everything that you're saying, I know that you've already declared Lane Hutson the winner of the Calder, and he clearly is in the race. He's in the mix and has a legitimate shot to winning. But I don't think I'm ready to call it Lane Hutson's Calder. Yes, he has more points. He's played more games. But because of all that, and it's a number one pick, more hoopla, more spotlight on you. Lane Hutson's he's drafted a couple of years ago. He wasn't a first-round pick. Yes, he's come out onto the scene this year blazing, but Macklin Celebrini has kind of notoriety that comes with it. And you just mentioned all these 18-year-olds that struggled. Ho-hum, it was okay. Took them a couple of years. Macklin Celebrini is here and playing and performing at this age. So I think that there's still a very good chance Celebrini wins the Calder.
So do I.
I'm not. Yeah, but you've already kind of claimed and said Hudson's winning the Calder. I think Hutson has a good chance. I think Celebrini has a good chance. Michkov has an outside chance, but still a good chance because there's still lots of hockey to be made.
I think it's a real long shot for Michkov at this point. He's got a lot of catching up to do on the other two.
Yeah, but anything can happen.
You might have
my front two are the same front two you have, but I am not.
I have a front three. But I'm going to put Wolf in there.
Okay, but I still think that right now Celebrini might be leading, even though he may not be leading in points. I think if the vote ended today, Celebrini wins.
I think if the vote ended today and Celebrini won, then people aren't watching the Montreal Canadiens play.
But more people will watch Celebrini
I like Celebrini.
Hutson. More people will watch Celebrini
I like
than Hutson.
Celebrini a lot, all right? And I think he's got that star grinder type of game to him, kind of like a Sidney Crosby. I'm a fan. But Campbell, Lane Hutson is serving a bigger role on a better team. He's playing more. He's playing a more difficult position to play as a rookie. And when you look at the overall stats, I'm not even talking about rookie stats. When you look at points and assists for defensemen in the league.
Oh, he's right there.
He's at the top of the league. So if somebody is competing for assists and point totals in his first year with all the best players in the league, with all due respect to what Celebrini has done this year, I mean, Celebrini, when you look at his point totals and everything like that, kind of middle of the pack. But Campbell, my hot take today is that I truly believe that if Demidov wasn't currently in action right now with Ska, Demidov would be your Rookie of the Year winner this year.
It's possible. He looks incredible.
He'd be going to a better team. He'd be playing with better offensive player. He'd have more help. And I think the point totals would be off the charts. Guy's an offensive dynamo.
I'm not really disagreeing with that, and I think that's why Canadiens fans are excited for him to come next year.
As they should be.
So on the rookie front, there's a chance, you're right, that the Canadiens could have back-to-back Calders, but I am not ruling out the possibility of Celebrini. The other thing I'm going to say here, and I know that the Sharks are not a very good team, but let's be honest, the Canadiens right now aren't a very good team, and they're struggling. Yeah. They were in the mix, but now they've fallen out of the mix, and we'll see if they get into the mix. Secondary question, which is a little bit apart from the Calder race. Who's the MVP for the San Jose Sharks?
I don't know. I'd have to look into it.
The answer is Macklin Celebrini.
He's their most promising player, but, I don't watch that team every day. It does feel like, a Tyler Toffoli has played an incredible role with that team.
The answer's Macklin Celebrini. Who's the MVP of the Montreal Canadiens?
Suzuki.
The answer is Nick Suzuki. So I think that there's an angle to look at that as well because of who you're playing with. You're playing with less. You're playing with more. The importance to your team. And Lane Hutson.
Lane Hutson's the MVP on the Canadiens' blue line.
Lane Hutson might be 2 on the list, by the way, to Nick Suzuki. But the answer is Nick Suzuki.
Yeah.
There's other factors when you're trying to pull two things that are so close. And I don't think you and I are arguing that far apart because we both believe it can go either way. But it's an interesting Calder race right now, and I love the fact that we get to see them on the ice tonight. I want to see them battle it out on the ice, and maybe, if Lane Hutson does something to Macklin Celebrini or Macklin Celebrini does something to Lane Hutson, like a move, a shift, a deke, gets around them, a head fake, something at the blue line that Lane Hutson loves to do, or Macklin Celebrini one-on-one gets around Lane Hutson, all I want is when they go to the award show at the end of the season, we get that highlight. And that might be the determining factor of who wins because how close it is. So maybe you need to, and won them tonight.
Yeah, I don't know how much the voters are going to be paying specific attention to this game and this game only.
I am going to look for an and one moment between those two. That is what I'm looking forward to the game tonight.
Campbell, Lane Hutson leads rookies in points, and he is a defenseman.
Macklin Celebrini.
That is enough for me.
Macklin Celebrini leads rookies in points per game, and he's a teenager. And that does it, I think, for the same amount of people that does the defenseman.
The teenager thing is just not fair. I look at it as very impressive that he's able to do it as a teenager, but at nowhere in the award does it say should it be the youngest player doing the best.
But I know when people vote, they will lean on defense. Some will say, oh, he's a defenseman, and some will say, oh, he's a teenager, and I think they cancel each other out.